Built between 1960 and 1980, the MGB has always been a classic British racing car. And during the 1960s, specially tuned versions did very well on the racing circuit. This one behind me has also been specially built to race in its original 1960s form. Let's take a look. Hello Pete, thanks for asking me down here today. We've got this wonderful MGB. It's a classic 1964 vehicle and you picked it up in 2007. It was already geared up for racing and then you took it on, but what's your involvement with racing from the beginning?
Very good question. Why did we get into racing? We started over 30 years ago. It's my son, my youngest son, Jan, and I, who are complete petrol heads. And we had this love of racing. It started with karting. We progressed from karting to sprinting. We sprinted with a particular club, Borough 19, which is a really good club and still exists today. And having accomplished what we felt we had then, the next step was circuit racing.
So that brings you up to doing historical racing, which you've got involved in. So what's involved with that?
So this is, as you said, a 64 MGB being raced as it was with exactly the same components from 1964. So they're pretty dated.
That's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the key is safety.
So what's the features on the exterior of the car that's involved in the safety elements, please?
Safety features, most importantly, the fire suppression system. There's two external operatives here and to the side of the car. They're key for the marshals in the event we have a coming together with another car or another part of the circuit, which can happen.
Yeah.
And they will operate these emergency pulls to operate the fire suppression system. The fire suppression system is run inside the car from a bottle that is regularly serviced and updated and certificated, and inside the car there's 4 nozzles, and inside the engine bay there's another 4 nozzles, all ready to fire the suppression fluid to keep you safe. The other things you need are towing eyes, front and rear, because if you come off and you need to be recovered, either from a live snatch, which sometimes happen during the race, or after the race because you can't get going again,
Yeah.
the recovery vehicle needs to be able to latch on to something safe and secure.
Now, weight's another issue, isn't it? You've got to get this car, the weight's got to be right, hasn't it? I noticed you've got one windscreen wiper.
Yeah.
Is that a weight thing?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Okay, right.
Well, you've only got one driver as well.
Yeah,
but,
true.
The key here is to get this car as light as possible, but within the regulations.
Right.
There's a minimum weight that you have to adhere to, and what you do is you strip out and strip off as much waste material that you can without compromising structural integrity, without compromising safety. That's the key. So we look to get the car as close to the minimum weight as possible. Obviously the key is that when you finish your race, if you're successful, you will go into Parc Fermé and they will look over your car and they could weigh your car. So if you've cheated and taken a lot of weight off, they will know, because they weigh that car. There's an allowance for the fuel, there's an allowance for the driver, and if you're below minimum weight, you're disqualified.
Right, okay. Let's check out the inside and see what's involved there, can we?
Be a pleasure.
How tall are you, Pete?
just over 6 foot.
You know, I struggled when I got in it, so it must be a nightmare for you. But this car is totally stripped out, obviously again to do with the weight issues, but explain what's going on here.
Right, so again, it's everything that's unnecessary, everything that's surplus to requirements for racing is taken out. You go back to bare metal. That's the best way I can describe it. There's everything that's unnecessary. Windows, we take the windows out and the glass disappears and we replace it with perspex. The rear window we take out and replace with perspex, weight saving. The most important thing you're seeing in here now is this, the roll bar, the roll cage to be more correct. That's what protects us when we're in the car in the event of an accident, in the event the vehicle turns over. This is FIA regulated roll cage, specifically made for this car, designed to protect us when we're racing.
I noticed you've got these 2 clocks inside your car. One up says kitchen timer. Are you boiling eggs in here?
Well, we're doing all sorts of things in here. Most of the boiling is us inside our race suits when we're. But the idea of this and the other clock is to time ourselves in our mandatory pit stop. We race in a series where we double drive. That particularly is the attraction for me and my son, because we can race together. It's quite exhilarating. And we have to have a pit stop to change drivers. There's a regulation on time for that, a pit window as they call it, and we need a clock to time us as soon as we enter the pit. There's a mandatory period we have to stay in the pits. So we use the clocks to time ourselves in and out of the pits.
Right, okay. I noticed you've got a special sports seat here. So where's that come from?
Well, that's a specific race seat built by Sparco, FIA homologated,
right?
Because again, that's part of the requirement. It's a major safety feature. This is protecting anyone that has these types of seats. This is one particular make. There are various makes and models, but they're all made to a specific safety criteria. And with these harnesses, once we're in, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're strapped in across the shoulders. There are lap straps. There's a crutch strap. When you're in, you are in this seat, you are in this car, and you're not going anywhere. Obviously, there's a safety release, should you need it, for example in pit stops when we're changing drivers. But once you're in, this is your key ingredient to keeping you safe and sound.
Yeah. I noticed that your rev counter is on the wonk and it's got this little orange marker. What's that all about?
Okay, so it is on the wonk, and if you were to sort of try and establish how much it's on the wonk, if you were looking at a clock with 12 obviously at the top, we sort of position it equivalent that the 12 would be round to 9 o'clock. And the reason for that is that when we're racing, there's an optimum range of revs that we're using to get all the power out of the engine. And so we pitch it that way so as we can see it effectively between 3,500 and 7,000 revs.
Right.
That's really what it's there for. And the orange marker is the danger zone, where you don't go any higher,
right?
Because otherwise bits fly out of the engine and your race is over. This here, the rear view mirror, much larger than you would normally see, and a very nice curve on the vision. The reason for that is to eliminate any blind spots, so you can see if anyone's creeping up on the inside of you, but you can clearly see behind you as well as in front.
Yeah, okay. And moving further along, you've got a rather interesting, looks like a back of a tail light. What is that?
It's a massive orange indicator.
Yeah.
It doesn't flash,
right.
It just glows. And that glows in the event that oil pressure reduces in the engine.
Right.
Obviously when we're racing, we're looking at all sorts of things, but that is very, very bright when it comes on, and that is the end of your race.
Ah, okay.
Because that means you've lost oil pressure.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So let's have a look and see the boot space, shall we?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Right. let's have a look in the boot.
Here we go.
Right, not much boot space.
No, a lot of fuel tank, that's about it.
Right, okay, so what's going on here?
So, as part of the race regulations, we're required to run a fuel tank according to FIA MSA regulations.
Right.
That fuel tank is actually full of foam. It's a specific design. Everyone has to have it, because when you're racing you can't have fuel sloshing around because of all the different lateral forces that are applied. Yeah. This tank is very important because it's what helps us finish the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to race for an hour, so we have to calculate what we need as fuel for that race, allowing for all eventualities, which can be safety car, where you're being held, circulating because there's been an accident, and waiting for the safety car to clear before you can resume racing. And you want as little fuel as possible because fuel adds weight.
Yeah.
But you've also got to have enough to finish the race. Like, you don't want to do 55 minutes of an hour race and run out of fuel. You'll kick yourself.
Okay.
And that's all you put in here, because anything else is unnecessary.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look at the engine, shall we?
Let's do it. Are you ready?
Pete, there's no engine.
Absolutely. But that's the story of racing.
Okay.
It's a way for a rebuild.
Right, okay. So when do you plan to have it back in?
Well, it's been rebuilt. Field Motorsport have done their magic, and it's been dynoed. The finishing touches just being performed, and installation in the next couple of weeks as we can go racing again.
So, Pete, there's one other thing we need to see, and I think everybody else wants to see this at home as well, which is you in your racing kit.
Are you ready for this?
We're ready.
Let's do it.
Wow, that's impressive.
This is me in race garb.
In race garb, and it's really got to be, again, safety is what it's all about, isn't it?
Yep, everything we wear
Yeah.
as fire suppressant materials, as regulated by the FIA.
Yeah, okay.
The governing body for
Right.
racing. And everything we wear has to comply with those standards.
Yeah.
And every piece of equipment, the suit, the gloves, the boots, the balaclava, the underwear, which I won't treat you to,
Yeah.
are all fireproof
Yeah.
material, and they have to carry a stipulated insignia
Right.
so that scrutineers, who are a key part of us racing, can see that you're compliant with the safety regulations, because they want you safe.
Yeah.
You know, start with a smile, finish with a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a Nicky Lauda experience.
No, it must be incredibly warm in there though when you're racing.
you lose, like, you dehydrate,
Right.
you sweat a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you showed me earlier this shoulder pad thing.
Yeah,
give us
right.
an example of that, how it works.
Better known as a hands device.
Yeah.
This is it attached to the helmet
Yeah.
with specific, again, regulated connectors.
Yeah.
The whole idea of this is to help you stay safe.
Can we see this on?
Yeah, it's not an easy task.
Okay.
But we'll get it
Here we
on.
go. Let's have that. And all of this, of course, while you're trying to win a race.
Well,
worry about all the other stuff.
The interesting bit is when you're doing the pit stop.
Yeah.
And you've got to be race ready.
Yeah.
So obviously my son, if he started the race, he's already in the car fully kitted out.
Yeah.
I'm in the pit lane waiting for him to come in. So this has all got to be done before I'm anywhere near the car.
Yeah, of course.
And so this has to be tethered under here. So this is another, you don't normally do this with race gloves on,
Right.
because it makes life a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But you get it on, you make sure it's locked in place, like this. You are then attached.
Yeah.
That will, once you're in the car, that's strapped down.
Yeah.
Your shoulder straps go across here. You're safe as houses.
Wow.
And then if your eyes are showing any fear, you just bring down a visor.
Yeah. I'm going to have to translate at this point. But what I'm going to say is, you'll join us next time, hopefully, and see the rest of Pete's racing story. Hopefully the engine will be in and we can take it out on its first drive. You've been watching Down at the Barns. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.